Ready, set, go.
Welcome back to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, as told by the Tall Lanky Audio Theater Company, is what I'm going to call it.
Hell yeah.
This evening, we are blessed to have our friend Bonk with us, who was intended to have voiced a handful of characters, but circumstances dictated otherwise, unfortunately. But they are here now with us to contribute their voice talents. So look forward to that. And without further ado, Goblin says hello and he loves you. I love Goblin as well. And I say hello to Goblin. Without even further ado, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Fit the Fifth. Sent to find the ultimate question to life, the universe, and everything, Arthur Dent and his companions have been cornered by two humane cops who nevertheless have left them in a certain death situation.
The story so far. In the beginning, the universe was created. This has made a lot of people very angry and been widely regarded as a bad move. Many races believe that it was created by some sort of god, though the Jatravarted people of Viltvodel 6 firmly believe that the entire universe was in fact sneezed out of the nose of a being called the Great Green Arcleseizure. The Jatravartids, who live in perpetual fear of the time they called the coming of the Great White Handkerchief, are small blue creatures with more than 50 arms each, who are therefore unique in being the only race in history to have invented the aerosol deodorant before the wheel. However, the Great Green Arcleseizure theory was not widely accepted outside Viltvodel 6, and so one day a race of hyper-intelligent, pan-dimensional beings built themselves a gigantic supercomputer called Deep Thought to calculate once and for all the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything. For 7.5 million years, Deep Thought computed and calculated and eventually announced that the answer was, in fact, 42. And so another even bigger computer had to be built to find out what the actual question was. And this computer, which was called the Earth, was so large that it was frequently mistaken for a planet, particularly by the strange ape-like beings who roamed its surface, totally unaware that they were simply part of a gigantic computer program. And this is very odd, because without that fairly simple and obvious piece of knowledge, nothing that ever happened on Earth could possibly make the slightest bit of sense. However, at the critical moment of readout, the Earth was unexpectedly demolished to make way for a new hyperspace bypass, and the only hope of finding the ultimate question now lies buried deep in the minds of Arthur Dent and Trillian, the only native Earth people to have survived the demolition. Unfortunately, they and their strange companions from Betelgeuse are at the moment being shot at behind a computer bank on the lost planet of Magthera. This is what the computer bank is about to do.
There is a devastating explosion, but an extremely weird-sounding one.
And the time at which it is going to do it is 20 seconds from now.
The computer bank is absorbing a hell of a lot of energy. I think it's about to blow up.
There's a heavy, oscillating hum that builds up with the energy being pumped into it by continuing gunfire. It's a shame we never managed to get the work done on revising the book. I thought it looked rather promising.
Yes. What book?
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, that thing. Guys, I hate to say this, but this thing really is going to blow up.
Okay.
Repeat the explosion from the end of the narrator's speech. There's rushing sounds of lots of little unidentified noises whizzing from the outside edges of the sound picture, receding into the center. It suddenly stops with a crash. Almost instantly, we hear the quiet background of a large restaurant with cabaret music playing in the background. Garkbit the waiter speaks almost immediately.
Good evening, gentlemen. Madam, do you have a reservation?
Reservation?
Yes, sir.
Do you need a reservation for the afterlife?
The afterlife, sir?
This is the afterlife.
Well, I assume so. I mean, there's no way we could have survived that blast, is there?
No,
None at all.
I was dead.
I certainly didn't survive. I was a total goner. Wham! Bang! That was it.
We didn't stand a chance. We must have been blown to bits. Arms, legs, everywhere.
Yeah.
If you would care to order drinks.
Kaplow! Splat! Instantaneously zonked into our component molecules. Hey, did you ever get that amazing thing that they say your whole life flashes before you?
Yeah, you got that too, did you? Your
Yeah,
whole
at least... at least I assume it was mine. I spent a lot of time out of my skull, you know?
So what?
Here we are, lying dead.
Standing.
Standing dead, desolate.
Restaurant.
Standing dead in this desolate
5-star.
5-star restaurant.
Odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice chandeliers, though.
It's not so much an afterlife, more a sort of aperitif.
Hey, hang about. I think we're missing something important here. Something really important that somebody just said. Hey, what was it? Hey, you.
Sir?
Did you say something about drinks?
Certainly, sir. If the lady and gentleman would care to take drinks before dinner,
Yeah, great.
and the universe will explode later for your pleasure.
What?
Wow, what sort of drinks do you serve here?
I think Sir has perhaps misunderstood me.
I hope not.
It is not unusual for our customers to be a little disoriented by the time journey, so if I might suggest...
A time journey?
What time journey?
You mean this isn't the afterlife?
Afterlife, sir? No, sir.
And we're not dead.
No, sir. Sir, Sir is most evidently alive, otherwise I would not attempt to serve, sir.
Then where the phantom are we? Or photon are we?
Hey, I've sussed it. This must be Milliways.
Milliways!
Yes, this is Milliways, the restaurant at the end of the universe.
End of what?
The universe.
When did that end?
In just a few minutes, sir. Now, if you would care to order drinks, I will show you to your table.
The restaurant at the end of the universe is one of the most extraordinary adventures in the entire history of catering. A vast time bubble has been projected into the future to the precise moment of the end of the universe. This is, of course, impossible. In it, guests take their places at table and eat sumptuous meals whilst watching the whole of creation explode about them. This is, of course, impossible. You can arrive for any sitting you like without prior reservation because you can book retrospectively, as it were, when you return to your own time. This is, of course, impossible. At the restaurant, you can meet and dine with a fascinating cross-section of the entire population of space and time. This is, of course, impossible. You can visit it as many times as you like, and be sure of never meeting yourself, because of the embarrassment that usually causes. This is, of course, impossible. All you have to do is deposit 1 penny in a savings account in your own era, and when you arrive at the end of time, the operation of compound interest means that the fabulous cost of your meal has been paid for. This is, of course, impossible. Which is why the advertising executives of the star system of Bastabron came up with this slogan. If you've done 6 impossible things this morning, why not round it off with breakfast at Milliways, the restaurant at the end of the universe?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the restaurant at the end of the universe. I am your host for tonight, Max Quartlepleen, and I have just come straight from the other end of time where I have been hosting the show at the Big Bang Burger Chef, where we had a real way-hey with the evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I will be with you right through this tremendous historic occasion, the end of history itself. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Take your places at the table. The candles are lit, the band is playing, and as the force-shielded dome above us fades into transparency, revealing a dark and sullen sky, hung heavy with the ancient light of livid, swollen stars, I can see that we're in for a fabulous evening apocalypse. Thank you very much.
Do you do takeaways?
Aha. No, sir. Here at Milliways, we only serve the finest in ultra cuisine.
Ultra cuisine? Don't give me head pains. Look at this! Algolian Zygelburger smothered in a hint of Vulcan dodo spit.
Saliva, sir. Saliva. The salivary gland of the Vulcan ultra dodo is a delicacy much sought after.
Ugh, not by me.
What is an Algolian Zilbat burger anyway?
They're a kind of meat burger made from the most unpleasant parts of a creature, well known for its total lack of any pleasant parts.
So you mean that the universe does actually end not with a bang, but with a wimby?
Believe me, sir, the universe ends the very big bang indeed, and the food here is the ultimate gastronomic experience.
Yes, but is it good?
But look, surely if the universe is about to end here and now, don't we go with it?
No, look, as soon as you come into this dive, I think you get held in this sort of amazing force-shielded temporal warp thing. Look, I'll show you. Now, imagine this napkin as the temporal universe, right? And this spoon is a transductional mode in the matter curve.
That's the spoon I was eating with.
All right. Imagine this spoon is the transductional mode in the matter curve. No better still, this fork.
Hey, could you let go of my fork, please?
Look, why don't we say this wine glass is the temporal universe? So if
The glass smashes on the floor.
Forget that. I mean, do you know how the universe began for a kickoff?
Probably not.
All right, imagine this. You get a large round bath made of ebony.
Where from? Harrods was destroyed by the Vergons.
Doesn't matter.
So you keep saying.
No, listen, just imagine that you've got this ebony bath, okay? And it's conical.
Conical? What kind of...
Shh! It's conical. So what do? You fill it with with fine white sand, right? Or sugar, anything like that. And when it's full, you pull the plug out and it all just twirls down out of the plug hole.
Why?
But the thing is, the clever bit is that you film it happening. You get a movie camera from somewhere and actually film it. But then you thread the film in the projector backwards.
Backwards?
Yeah, neat. You see, so what happens is you sit and watch it, and then everything appears to spiral out upwards out of the plug hole and fill the bath. See?
And that's how the universe began.
No, but it's a marvelous way to relax.
Funny man.
Broke the ice, didn't it?
There's music and a general restaurant background.
And as the photon storms gather in a swirling cloud around us, prepare to tear apart the last of the red-hot suns, I'm sure you'll settle back and enjoy with me what I am sure we'll all find an immensely exciting and terminal experience. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing penultimate about it. You know what I mean. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the proverbial it.
There's polite applause.
After this, there is void. Absolutely nothing. Except, of course, for the sweet trolley and our fine selection of Albarian glickers. And now, at the risk of putting a damper on this wonderful sense of doom and futility here, I'd like to welcome a few parties. Do we have a party of the Zalquesture Flemingon Bridge Club from beyond the vortex of Quervine? Are they here?
There are cheers from a party of people who sound slightly like sheep.
Good, jolly good. Good, jolly good. And a party of minor deities from the halls of Asgard?
There are cheers, wolf whistles, football rattles, and a few thunderbolts.
A young conservative from Sirius B?
There's woofing and barking.
Ah, yes. And lastly, a party of devout believers from the Church of the Second Coming of the Great Prophet Zarkon. Well, fellas, let's hope he's hurrying because he's only got 8 minutes left.
There's a little ripple of cozy laughter.
But seriously, though, no offense meant, because I know we shouldn't make fun of deeply held beliefs. So I think a big hand, please, for the great prophet Zarkon, wherever he's gotten to.
There is applause and a few more laughs.
And you know, I just want to say how marvelous it is to see how many of you still come here time and time again to witness this finale, the end of all beings, and then still manage to return home to your own eras and raise families, strive for newer and better societies, fight terrible wars for what you believe is right, because you know, it really makes one think about the absolute marvelous future of all life kind. Except, of course, you know, it hasn't gotten one.
Excuse me, sir.
Who, me?
Mr. Zaphod Beeblebrox?
Yeah.
There is a phone call for you.
Hey, what?
Here?
Hey, but who knows where I am?
Zaphod, perhaps it's the police. They have traced us here.
You mean they want to arrest me over the phone? Could be. I'm a pretty dangerous dude where I'm concerned.
Yeah, you go to pieces so fast that people get hit by the shrapnel.
Hey, what is this? Judgment Day?
Do we get to see that as well? Fantastic.
I'm in no hurry. So who's on the phone?
I am not personally acquainted with the metal gentleman in question, sir.
Metal?
I am informed that he has been awaiting return for a considerable number of millennia. It seems you left here, sir, somewhat precipitately.
Hey, left here? We've only just arrived.
Indeed, sir, but before you arrived here, sir, you left here.
You're saying that before we arrived, we left here.
That is what I said, sir.
Okay, put your analyst on danger money. Put your analyst on danger money, baby. Now.
No, wait a minute. Where exactly is here?
The planet Morgrathia, sir.
But we just left there. This is the restaurant at the end of the universe, I thought.
Precisely, sir. The one was constructed on the ruins of the other.
You mean we've traveled in time, but not in space?
Listen, you semi-evolved sapien. Go climb a tree, why don't you?
Oh, go and bang your heads together, Four Eyes.
No, your monkey has got it right, sir.
Who are you calling a monkey?
You jumped forward in time many millions of years while retaining the same position in space. Your friend has been waiting for you in the meantime.
Oh, what's he been doing all this time?
Resting a little, sir.
Marvin, it must be Marvin.
The paranoid android.
Cookies, hand me the rapod plate, Captain.
Pardon, sir.
Yeah, the phone, waiter. You guys are so unhip. I wonder if your bums don't fall off.
Oh, what, sir?
The phone picks up.
The phone, sir.
Hi, how you doing, kid? I think you ought to know I'm feeling very depressed. Hey, yeah, we're having a great time. Food, wine, a little personal abuse, and the universe going boom. Where can we find you? You don't have to pretend to be interested in me, you know. I know perfectly well I'm only a menial robot. Okay, but where are you? Reverse preliminary thrust, Marvin. That's what you say to me. Open airlock number 3, Marvin. Marvin, can you pick up that piece of paper? Can I pick up that piece of paper? Here I am, brain the size of a planet. Yeah. But I'm quite used to being humiliated. I can't even go and stick my head in a bucket of water, if you'd like. Yes, Marvin. Would you like me to go and stick my head in a bucket of water? I've got one ready. Wait a minute.
You hear the clunk of the phone and a distant clunk of a bucket and water.
Zaphod.
Nothing. He just phoned up to wash his head at us. Has that satisfied you? Will you please tell us where you are? I'm in a car park. In a car park? What are you doing there? Parking cars. What else does one do in... Well, hey, yeah, okay, stay there.
The phone goes down and Marvin burbles on distantly.
Come on, guys, let's go. Marvin's down in a car park.
The car park? What's he doing in the car park?
Parking cars. What else, dum-dum? Ford, Trillion, let's move.
What about my pears, Columbit? They rush out of the restaurant, and the compare becomes audible again. There's a ripple of laughter that fades into the metallic echo of underground car park, running footsteps on steel catwalks.
There he is!
More footsteps, descending steel stairs.
Marvin! Hey, kid, we are pleased to see you. No, you're not. No one ever is. Suit yourself.
No, really, Marvin, we are.
Quite.
Hanging around waiting for us all this time.
The first 10 million years were the worst. And the second 10 million, they were the worst too. The third 10 million, I didn't enjoy at all. After that, I went into a bit of a decline.
Zaphod, come and have a look at some of these little star trolleys. Look at this baby, Zaphod. The tangerine star buggy with the black sunbusters.
Hey, get his number. Multi-cluster quark drive and Plurplex running boards. This has to be the Lazar Lycron custom job. Look, the infrared pink lizard emblem on the Neuroting cowling.
Hey, yeah. I was passed by one of those mothers once out near the Axel Nebula. I was doing flat out, and this thing just strolled past me. Star drive hardly ticked over. Just incredible.
Too much.
10 seconds later, it smashed straight into the third moon of Jeglin Beta.
Hey, right?
But a great looking ship, though. Looks like a fish, moves like a fish, steers like a cow.
No kidding.
No, wait a minute. That one there.
Hey, now that is really bad for the eyes.
It's so black. You can hardly even make out its shape. Light just falls into it.
And feel the surface.
Yeah. Hey, you can't.
See, it's just totally frictionless. This must be one mother of a mover. I bet even the cigar lighter on a photon's drive. Well, what do you reckon, Ford?
What? You mean stroll off with it? Do you think we should?
No.
Nor do I.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Ooh, we better shift soon. In a few seconds, the universe will end and all the captain creeps will be pouring down here to find their bougie mobiles.
Zaphod,
Yeah.
how do we get into it?
Just don't spoil a beautiful idea, will you, Ford?
Perhaps the robot can figure something out.
Yeah. Hey, Marvin, come over here. We got a job for you. I won't enjoy it. Yes, you will. There's a whole new life stretching out ahead of you. Oh no, not another one. Will you shut up and listen? This time, there's going to be excitement and adventure and really wild things. Sounds awful. Marvin, all I am trying to say, I suppose you want me to open this spaceship for you? Yeah. Well, I wish you'd have just tell me that rather than try to engage my enthusiasm, because I haven't got one.
The spaceship door opens.
Do that, Marvin.
Didn't I tell you? I've got the brain the size of a planet? No one ever listens to me, of course. Oh, shut up, Marvin. See what I mean?
Hey, Zaphod, look at the interior of this ship.
Hey, weird!
It's black. Everything is just totally black.
Fade up to the restaurant.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for. The skies begin to boil. Nature collapses into the screaming void. In 5 seconds' time, the universe itself will be at its end. See where the light of infinity bursts in upon us.
There are herald trumpets, hallelujahs, a great whoosh of wind.
But what's this? What's happening? Who is this? I don't believe it. A big hand, please, for the great prophet of Zarkon!
Hello everybody. Sorry I'm a bit late. Had a terrible time. All sorts of things cropping up at the last moment. How are we for time?
With a mighty roar, the universe ends.
And so the universe ended. One of the major selling points of that wholly remarkable book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, apart from its relative cheapness and the fact that it has the words "Don't Panic" written in large friendly letters on the cover, is its compendious and occasionally accurate glossary. For instance, the statistics relating to the geosocial nature of the universe are deftly set out between pages 576,324 and 526,326. The simplistic style is partly explained by the fact that its editors, having to meet a publishing deadline, copied the information off the back of a packet of breakfast cereal, hastily embroidering it with a few footnotes in order to avoid prosecution under the incomprehensibly torturous galactic copyright laws. It is interesting to note that a later and wilier editor sent the book backwards in time through a temporal warp and then successfully sued the breakfast cereal company for infringement of the same laws. Here is a sample in both headings and footnotes.
The universe.
Bing! Some information to help you live in it.
1. Area. Infinite.
Ping! As far as anyone can make out.
2. Imports. None.
It is impossible to import things into an infinite area, there being no outside to import things in from.
3. Exports. None.
Ping! See imports.
4. Rainfall. None.
Rain cannot fall because in an infinite space there is no up for it to fall down from.
5. Population. None.
It is known that there is an infinite number of worlds, but that not every one is inhabited. Therefore, there must be a finite number of inhabited worlds. Any finite number divided by infinity is as near to nothing as makes no odds. So if every planet in the universe has a population of 0, then the entire population of the universe must also be 0. And any people you may actually meet from time to time are merely the products of a deranged imagination.
6. Monetary units. None.
Ping! In fact, there are 3 freely convertible currencies in the universe, but the Altarian dollar has recently collapsed. The Flanian portal bead is only exchanged for other Flanian portal beads, and the Triganic pew doesn't really count as money. Its exchange rate of 6 ninjas to 1 pew is simple, but since a ninja is a triangular rubber coin 6,800 miles along each side, no one has ever collected enough to own 1 pew. Ninjas are not negotiable currency because the Galactabanks refuse to deal in fiddling small change. From this basic premise, it is very simple to prove that the Galactabanks are also the products of a deranged imagination.
7. Sex. None.
Ping! Well, actually, there is an awful lot of this, largely because of the total lack of money, trade, banks, rainfall, or anything else that might keep all the non-existent people in the universe occupied. However, it is not worth embarking on a long discussion of it now, because it really is terribly complicated. For further information, see chapters 7, 9, 10, 11, 14, 16, 17, 19, 21 to 84 inclusive, and most of the rest of the book. It is largely on account of passages like this that the book of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is being revised by Ford Prefect and Arthur Dent. Unfortunately, they are being presented with too many distractions to be able to settle down to doing any solid research. Not only does Arthur Dent still have to find the question to the ultimate answer of life, the universe, and everything, but the newly stolen spaceship is currently behaving rather like this.
There is a starship background which is oscillating randomly in pitch and volume. Basically, what you're trying to say is that you can't control it.
Not trying to say that. The whole bloody ship is.
The wild color scheme that freaks me. When you try and operate one of these things, weird black controls which are labeled in black on a black background, a small black light that lights up to the back, and lets you see you've done it. What is this? Some kind of intergalactic hyperhearse?
Well, perhaps it is.
Isn't there any way you can control it? You're making me feel space sick.
Time sick. We're plummeting backwards through time.
Oh God, now I think I really am going to be ill.
Go ahead, we could use a little color in the place.
Oh, for God's sake, Zaphod, go easy, will you? Already today, we've had to sit through the end of the universe, and before that, we were blasted 576,000 years through time by an exploding computer.
If it's all right with you, I had to go the long way around.
How did that happen, anyway? How does an exploding computer push you through time?
Simple. It wasn't a computer. It was a hyperspatial field generator.
Silly, I should have recognized it at once.
As it overheated, it blew a hole through space, time, and the continuum, and you dropped through like a stone through a wet paper bag. I hate wet paper bags.
The background noise suddenly stops oscillating and settles into a steady pattern.
Hey, that sounds better. Have you managed to make some sense of the controls?
No, we just stopped fiddling with them. I think this ship has a far better idea of where it's going than we do.
Well, that sounds quite sensible to me.
Do you know about it, 8-Man?
Well, look. If whoever owns this ship traveled forward in time to the restaurant at the end of the universe, then presumably he must have programmed the ship in advance to return him to the exact point he originally left. Doesn't that make sense?
That's quite a good thought, you know. Particularly if he was anticipating having a good time. Drunk in charge of a time ship is pretty serious offense. They tend to lock you away in some planet's stone age and tell you to evolve into a more responsible life form.
So there's nothing to do but sit back and see where we turn up. What do we do in the meantime?
I've got a pocket Scrabble set.
Oh, go play with a nut.
Well, if that's your attitude.
Hey, look, Earthman, we've got a job to do, remember? The question of the ultimate answer, right? There's a lot of money tied up in that head thing of yours. I mean, just think of the merchandising. Ultimate question biscuits. Ultimate question t-shirts.
Well, yes, but where do we start? I don't know. The ultimate answer, so-called, is 42. But what's the question? How am I supposed to know? Could be anything. I mean, what's 6 times 7? 42. Yes, I know that. I'm just saying the question could be anything. How should I know?
Because you and Trillian are the last generation product of the Earth computer matrix. You must know.
I know.
Shut up, Marvin. This is an organism talk.
It's printed in the Earthman's brainwave patterns. But I don't suppose you'll be very interested in knowing that.
You mean you can see into my mind?
Yes.
And?
It amazes me how you've managed to live anything. Oh, jeez. It amazes me how you managed to live in anything that small.
Ah, abuse.
Yes. Ah, ignore him. He's only making it up. Making it up? Why would I want to make anything up? Life's bad enough as it is without wanting to invent any more of it.
Marvin, if you knew what it was all along, why didn't you tell us?
You didn't ask.
Well, we're asking you now, Metal Man. What's the question?
The ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything?
Yes!
To which the answer is 42?
Yes,
Yes,
come on!
come
Yeah,
on!
come on.
I can tell you're really not interested.
Will you just tell us, you motorized maniac?
At that moment, the engine note suddenly changes radically. Hey, look, the control panel's lighting up. We must have arrived.
Hey, yeah, we've zapped back into real space. I knew you weren't really interested.
The controls won't respond. It's still going on its own way. Isn't there any way we can introduce the ship to the concept of democracy?
Can we at least find out where we are?
The vision screens are all blank. Can't we turn them on?
They are on.
Why can't we see any stars?
I think we must be outside the galaxy.
We're picking up speed. We're heading out into intergalactic space. Arthur, check out the rear screens, will you?
I feel cold. All alone in this infinite void.
Apart from the fleet of black battle cruisers behind us.
Or particular fleet of black battle cruisers is that, Earthman?
Oh, the ones on the rear screens. Sorry. I thought you'd noticed them. There are about 100,000. Is that wrong?
No. What do you expect if you steal a flagship of an admiral of the space fleet? Marvin, what do you think? What makes you think this is the admiral's flagship? I know it is. I parked it for him. Then why the planet of hell didn't you tell us? You didn't ask.
You know what we've done? We've dropped ourselves into the vanguard of a major intergalactic war.
Will our heroes ever have a chance to find out what the ultimate question is now? Will they be too busy dealing with 100,000 horribly beweaponed battle cruisers to have a chance to have a sympathetic chat to Marvin, the paranoid android? Will they eventually have to settle down and lead normal lives as account executives or management consultants? Will life ever be the same again after next week's last and reasonably exciting installment of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
If you would like to buy a copy of the book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, please write to Megadodo Publications, Megadodo House, Ursa Minor, enclosing £3.99 for the book, plus £597,812,406 £7 postage and packing.
Fucking moo.
It's a very, very specific amount of money.
That's a
Truly.
fucking moo. They always get you with the shipping.
Fit the Sixth. Will the ultimate question to life, the universe, and everything, to which the answer is 42, be discovered? Will our heroes be able to control their newly stolen spaceship and the enormous fleet of black battle cruisers that is following them? Or will all end happily, or in the certain death that has threatened them so persistently?
The history of every major galactic civilization has gone through 3 distinct and recognizable phases, those of survival, inquiry, and sophistication, otherwise known as the how, why, and where phases. For instance, the first phase is characterized by the question, how can we eat? The second by the question, why do we eat? And the third by the question, where shall we have lunch? The history of warfare is similarly subdivided, though here the phases are retribution, anticipation, and diplomacy. Thus, retribution, I am going to kill you because you killed my brother. Anticipation, I am going to kill you because I killed your brother. And diplomacy, I am going to kill my brother and then kill you on the pretext that your brother did it. Meanwhile, the Earthman Arthur Dent, to whom all of this can be of only academic interest, as his only brother was long ago nibbled to death by an okapi, is about to be plunged into a real intergalactic war. This is largely because the spaceship that he and his companions have inadvertently stolen from the restaurant at the end of the universe has now returned itself on autopilot to its rightful time and place. Its rightful time is immediately prior to a massive invasion of an entire alien galaxy, and its rightful place is at the head of a fleet of 100,000 black battle cruisers. This is why...
You mean to say this ship we've stolen is the Admiral's flagship?
That's the way it's looking. Perhaps we should just ask them if they want it back. You know, if we were reasonably polite about it.
Just let us off with being lightly killed.
Yeah, okay, well, it's better than our...
It isn't better than anything at all, is it?
There's a flickering hum rising in pitch.
That Visa screen's beginning to flicker.
Oh, feed photons. It must be got some guys wanting orders.
Well, order him to go away. You'll just have to bluff it out, Safod.
I'll have
Now sit down and do something.
Say something.
Anything?
Don't worry, we'll be right behind you, hiding.
Or this is your idea, isn't it?
Yeah, now sit down there and be a star.
When I am a star, I'll hire better ideas, man.
The screen comes alive with a ping.
Hagen on Underfleet Commander reporting from Vice Flagship.
Underfleet Commandant,
Good evening, Admiral.
What?
I trust you had a pleasant meal.
Yeah, it was fine, thanks.
Delighted to hear it, sir. We are now in battle readiness state Amber. Deployed to your rear in line astride 7 minutes from target galaxy and awaiting your orders.
Great. Fine. Well, keep in touch, Underfleet Commandant.
Thank you, sir. Oh, and sir?
Yes?
I like your outfit, sir.
Oh, yeah, fine.
There's a ping as the screen goes blank. It dies down over a couple of seconds.
Oh, really
was
cool.
just
He
too
actually
weird.
thought you were the admiral.
Amazing,
Yeah,
Zafad. You did it.
to be the admiral.
Perhaps you look like him or something.
Oh, terrific. Yeah, listen, you dumb space cookie. I wasn't pretending to be an admiral. For some reason, he just assumed I was.
Perhaps you look like him or something.
Yeah, well, maybe not if he looks anything like his second in command, Monkey Man.
Well, what did he
Well,
look?
he looked
What?
like.
What? Why was he?
Well, he was a big leopard, okay? With, the sunglasses, in-flight casual spacesuit, split down in the navel, brown beach loafers. The whole bit.
How could he think you were the admiral?
Well, maybe leopards just have a lousy memory for faces.
Hilarious.
It must be simpler than that. There's obviously something wrong with the business screen. I'll have a look at it.
You heard Big Cat said. He said he liked my outfit. He must have seen me.
Ooh, the screen's coming on again.
Hell, Zaphod, get back in that seat. Trillian, come back.
It's too late. Get back.
There's a screen ping.
Is this one me?
Underfleet
I think
No,
it's
this
still
is the
me.
same one.
Yeah.
Okay. Undersea Commandant reporting. Battlestate Russet in 6 minutes from Target Galaxy. Oh, an admiral?
Yes?
I really like the gear. Even better than last time.
Thanks.
The screen goes dead.
Weird and weirder.
Good God.
What is it, Trillian?
Did you see that? I thought you said he was a leopard.
He sounded different.
Did he look different?
Well, he wasn't so much a leopard, more of, a shoebox.
A shoebox?
Full of, well, 9-size chukka boots.
A shoebox full of size 9 chukka boots.
Alright, Chimp Man. What do you think this is? Dictation?
I just wondered how she knew they were size 9.
Trillian, are you seriously telling us you've been talking to a box of shoes?
Yes,
And it
they.
thought that you were also the admiral.
Well, you heard it.
Clinically thick?
I think they're very clever. They're trying to confuse us to death.
I don't think they're very clever. There's only one person does intelligence with me within 30 parsecs of here. And that's me. Okay, Marvin, is there anything you can tell us? Well, yes. I've got this terrible pain in all the diodes down my left side.
What was the name the second in command said? Agamemnon? Why don't we look it up in the book?
What book?
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, that hack rag.
The Haganenons of Vicissitude 3 have the most impatient chromosomes of any life form in the galaxy, whereas most races are content to evolve slowly and carefully over thousands of generations, discarding a prehensile toe here, nervously hazarding another nostril there. The Haganenons would do for Charles Darwin what a squadron of Arcturian stunt apples would have done for Sir Isaac Newton. Their genetic structure, based on the quadruple sternated octohelix, is so chronically unstable that far from passing their basic shape onto their children, they will quite frequently evolve several times over lunch. But they do this with such reckless abandon that if, sitting at table, they are unable to reach a coffee spoon, they are liable without a moment's consideration to mutate into something with far longer arms, but which is quite probably incapable of drinking the coffee. This, not unnaturally, produces a terrible sense of personal insecurity, and a jealous resentment of all stable life forms, or filthy, rotten, stinking samelings, as they call them. They justify this by claiming that as they have personally experienced what it is like to be virtually everybody else they can think of, they are in a very good position to appreciate all their worst points. This appreciation is usually military in nature and is carried out with unmitigated savagery from the gun rooms of their horribly beweaponed chameleoid death flotilla. Experience has shown that the most effective way of dealing with any Haganedon you may meet is to run away terribly fast.
Great.
Terrific.
Thanks million, Zaphod.
Hey, don't look at me.
Well, what do we do?
The book says run away.
How do we get the automatic pilot on our side? Box of cookies and some sweet talk? Any ideas, Marvin? If I were you, I'd be very depressed. Earthman?
I go along with Marvin.
Ford?
I always find that the prospect of death contracts the mind wonderfully.
You know, I've just thought there is a chance.
A chance? As far as I can see, you might as well lower haystacks off the boat deck of the Lusitania.
No, think about it. Second in command assumed that the Admiral, Zaphod, and I were the same person, not because we look similar, but because we look completely different. So,
Right, I'm with you. If the second in command can be a shoebox, the admiral can be anything. A parfum stove, a water bison, an anaconda.
Terrific. I'll root around for the water bison. Trillian, you can see if you can find the jar that the Admiral keeps his anacondas in.
Can it, Zaphod? It could quite easily be something mundane, a screwdriver, that coil of wire, the chair itself.
Yeah, hey, you know what's really neat? Oh, fuck. Hey, you know what? That's a really neat chair. Could have been made for me. It's got 2 headrests. Dig?
What? Those two great furry things. They look ridiculous.
it's very uncomfortable. I'd prefer something with far longer arms.
But which is probably quite incapable of drinking coffee.
Sayer?
Did you say headrests, Zaphod? They look a lot like eyebrows to me.
The chair's stretching its leg.
It's just been asleep all this time.
Arthur, for God's sake, get back here, quick!
Up when you sit on the Admiral, Private.
It's moving. Look, it's starting to evolve.
There's a zappy bursting sound, which is also a bit screamy as the chair bursts into a terrible monster. There are general cries of, "Oh gosh," and "Goodness gracious" from the cast.
Wow. Eat your heart out, Galapagos Islands.
Gee, you that
Let me guess. Horrible. Am I warm?
carbon copy of the ravenous bug platter beast of Trawl, and I am a Vogon's grandmother.
There's a ghastly screech from the beast, also, or for clarity,
Cool, thanks.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that.
the ravenous bug blatter of Troll. Is it safe?
Oh, yes, it's perfectly safe. It's just us who are in trouble. If that's the Admiral and he still wants his coffee, it ain't sponge fingers he's gonna dunk in it.
Ford, throw some vinegar at it.
What do I do? Pick this table up by the ears?
Oh, the whole place is coming alive!
Yeah, and we're coming dead.
This ashtray just changed into a jar full of anacondas.
We'll let them know it's okay.
Get off me, you filthy sofa!
God, and I thought Time's finishing was horrific.
Get in the escape capsules.
There's a chase. There are feet down, metal corridor sounds, followed by beast screech, and generally knocking furniture over and eating it.
Right. Arthur and I will take this one. Zaphod, you and the others take the left-hand one.
The hatchway opens. There are scuffles as Arthur and Ford get in. The beast's screeches are muffled.
Press the go strut, Arthur.
There's a dull detonation as the capsule blasts off from the ship, and the whoosh of it escaping. Whoa! Hey, Ford. Look, the other capsule's missing. The chute's empty. Someone else must have used that capsule. The others are trapped.
It's too late, Arthur. We can't help them. This capsule won't turn back.
What happens if I press this button here?
Don't!
A really smashingly super sound of the capsule making a hyperspace jump.
Fortunately for Ford Prefect and Arthur Dent, their capsule was fitted with the latest in instant space travel, the Fargalore Kangaroo Relocation Drive, by which a ship may be ejected suddenly through the fabric of the space-time continuum and come to rest far from its starting point. This is, however, an emergency device, and there is rarely time to plot where the ship will land. Meanwhile, this is what happened to Zaphod, Trillian, and Marvin.
There's a bug bladder screech. A huge arm sweeps down and picks them up. The monster rolls his eyes, which turn red, green, then a sort of mauvey pink. It runs its tongue round its lips, blinks a couple of times, and then mentally registers that it has just remembered what 10 across in the Galactic Times crossword was today. Makes a mental note to write it in when it's next got a couple of minutes.
Everybody's screaming.
Wait, I'm not here.
Ouch.
Never mind.
Oh dear. Oh dear. My arms come off.
Oh, he's got us. If I ever survive this, I'll get a job as Moby Dick's dentist.
Can I, Trillian? Can it, Trillian? I'm trying to die with dignity. I'm just trying to die.
Move.
No problem. Pas de probleme. The ennui is overpowering.
The bug bladder beast swallows them whole. There's a sound of the huge cavernous throat with slimy slopping and gurgling.
And this is what happened to Arthur Dent and Ford Prefect.
There's a reverse of the hyperspace effect and a loud clang. Are we back in normal space?
No. I think we've actually materialized inside another spaceship.
More problems.
Well, we'll see. Checks atmosphere okay. Let's get out and look.
There's an opening of the capsule as they get out. Ford,
Yeah.
look, what about the others?
Arthur, you'll have to learn. It's a convention of all space traveling species that if you have to ditch someone, a friend, there's nothing you can do. You just let it be and don't talk about them, okay?
What? Really?
And then we get blind drunk about them later.
I think there must be something terribly wrong with the universe, you know.
I think there must be something terribly wrong with this ship.
Yes, it looks like a mausoleum.
Hey, you're right. This place is full of sarcophagi as far as the eye can see. Wild.
What's so great about dead people?
I don't know. Let's have a look. Here, there's a plaque on this one.
What does it say?
Golagafrikchma, Arc Fleet, Ship B holds 7, telephone sanitizer, 2nd class, and a serial number.
Telephone sanitizer? A dead telephone sanitizer?
Best kind.
But what's he doing here?
Not a lot.
Well, no, but I mean, why? Good God, this one's a dead hairdresser.
And this one's an advertising account executive.
Are these really coffins? They're terribly cold. There's a sudden zap.
All right, hold it right there.
Hello?
Why isn't anyone ever pleased to see us? Fade up on the bridge. There's an occasional sound of splashing water.
Captain,
Yes, number one.
just had a sort of report thing from number 2.
Oh, dear.
He was shouting something or other about having found some prisoners.
Well, perhaps that'll keep him happy for a bit. He's always wanted some.
The door opens.
Captain, sir,
Oh, hello, number 2. Having a nice day?
I have brought you some prisoners I located in the freezer bays 7, sir.
Hello.
Hello?
Oh, hello. Excuse me not getting up. Just having a quick bath. Well, gin and tonics all around then. Look in the fridge, number 1.
Certainly, sir.
Do you want me to interrogate the prisoners, sir?
Interrogate them, number 2.
Yes, sir. Torture them, sir. Stir matchsticks under their fingernails. Dub out lighted cigarettes on their skin, sir.
Why on earth did I do that?
To get information out of them, sir.
Oh, no. I expected just dropped in for a quick gin and tonic, don't you?
Can't I just interrogate them for a little bit?
Oh, alright. Wait. Ah! Okay, never mind.
You have
Okay.
it.
Oh, alright. If you must, ask them what they want to drink.
Thank you, sir. And you scum! You vermin!
Oh, steady on, number 2.
What do you want to drink?
Well, the gin and tonic sounds very nice to me. Arthur?
What? Oh, yes.
Oh, with please.
Lemon!
Yes, please. And do you have any of those little biscuits? You know, the cheesy ones?
Ah! Questions!
Number 2?
Sir!
Push off, would you? There's a good chap. I'm trying to have a relaxing bath.
May I remind you that you have now been in that bath for over 3 years?
Yes, well, you need to relax a lot in a job like mine.
What on earth's going on?
Could I ask you actually what your job is, in fact? Your drink. Oh, thanks.
Thanks.
I mean, I couldn't help noticing, the bodies.
Bodies?
Yes, all those dead telephone sanitizers and account executives, in the hold.
Oh, they're not dead. Good Lord, no. No, they're just frozen. They're going to be revived.
You really mean you've got a hold full of frozen hairdressers?
Oh, yes. Millions of them. Hairdressers, tired TV producers, insurance salesmen, personnel officers,
Security guards?
management consultants, you name it. We got it. We're going to colonize another planet.
What?
Exciting, isn't it?
What? With that lot?
Oh, don't misunderstand me. We're just one of the ships in the Ark fleet. We're the B Ark, you see. Sorry, can I just ask you to run a bit more hot water for me, thanks? Do help yourself to more drinks, of course.
Thanks.
What's a bee arc?
What? Oh, well, what happened, you see, was our planet was doomed.
Doomed?
Oh, yes. So what everyone thought was, let's pack the whole population in some giant spaceships and go and settle on another planet.
You mean a less doomed one?
Precisely. So it was decided to build 3 ships, 3 arcs in space. I'm not boring you, am I?
No, it's fascinating.
It's delightful to have someone else to talk to for a change. Trouble with a long journey like this is that you end up just talking to yourself a lot. Which is terribly boring because half the time you know what you're going to say next.
Only half the time.
Yes, about half I'd say. Anyway, where's the soap? Yes, so the idea was that into the first ship, the A ship, would go all the brilliant leaders, the scientists, the great artists, all the achievers. And then into the third ship, the C ship, would go all the people who did the actual work, who made things and did things. And then into the B ship, that's us, would go everyone else, the middlemen, you see, and we were sent off first.
But what was wrong with your planet?
Oh, it was doomed, as I said. Apparently it was going to crash into the sun. Or was it that the moon was going to crash into us?
I thought it was the planet was more or less bound to be invaded by a gigantic swamp of 12-foot piranha bees.
That was not what I was told. My commanding officer swore to me that swore blind that the entire planet was in imminent danger of being eaten by enormous mutant star goat.
Oh, really?
Yes, and that he was just hoping that the ship he was going to be on would be ready in time.
But they made sure that they sent all you lot off first anyway.
Oh, yes. Well, everyone said very nicely, I thought, that it was very important for morale to feel that they would be arriving on a planet where they could be sure of a good haircut and where the phones were clean.
Oh, yes. Well, I can see that would be very important.
Can you?
Shush. And the other ships followed on after you did, they?
Well, it's funny you should mention that, because curiously enough, we actually haven't heard a peep out of them since we left 5 years ago. They must be behind us somewhere.
Unless, of course, they were eaten by the goat.
Yes, the goat. It's a funny thing, you know, now that I actually come to tell the story to someone else. I mean, it doesn't strike you as odd, number one.
Well, I can see that you've got a lot of things you're going to want to talk about. So thanks for the drinks, and if you could sort of drop us off at the nearest convenient planet.
Well, that's a little difficult, you see, because our trajectory thingy was preset before we left Golga Frencham. I think partly because I'm not very good with figures.
When are you going to reach the
Then
planet
the
you're...
planet we're meant to colonize.
Yeah.
Oh, we're nearly there, I think. Any second now. It's probably coming out of the bath, in fact. Oh, I don't know. Why stop just when I'm enjoying it?
So we're actually going to land in a minute.
We're not so much land, in fact. I think, as far as I can remember, we were programmed to crash on it.
Crash?
Yes, it's all part of the plan, I think. There was a terribly good reason for it, which I can't quite remember at the moment.
You're a load of useless bloody loonies.
Ah, yes, that was it!
The ship crashes. A short howling plummet followed by an explosion.
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy has this to say about the planet of Golga Frencham. It is a planet with an ancient and mysterious history, in which the most mysterious figures of all are without doubt those of the great circling poets of Arium. These circling poets used to live in remote mountain passes where they would lie in wait for small bands of unwary travelers, circle round them, and throw rocks at them. And when the travelers cried out, saying why didn't they go away and get on with writing some poems instead of pestering people with all this rock-throwing business, they would suddenly break off and sing them an incredibly long and beautiful song in which they told of how there once went forth from the city of Vasilion a party of 5 sage princes with 4 horses. The first part of the song tells how these 5 sage princes, who are of course brave, noble, and wise, travel widely in distant lands, fight giant ogres, pursue exotic philosophies, take tea with weird gods, and rescue beautiful monsters from ravishing princesses, before finally announcing that they have achieved enlightenment and that their wanderings are therefore accomplished. The second and much longer part tells of all their bickerings about which one of them is going to have to walk back. It was, of course, a descendant of these eccentric poets who invented the spurious tales of impending doom, which enabled the people of Golga Frincham to rid themselves of an entire useless third of their population. The other 2/3, of course, all stayed at home and led full, rich, and happy lives until they were all suddenly wiped out by a virulent disease contracted from a dirty telephone. Meanwhile, Arthur Dent, Ford Prefect, and an arcload of frozen middle management men have crashed into the prehistoric dawn of a small blue-green planet circling an unregarded yellow sun at the unfashionable end of the western spiral arm of the galaxy. After a year or so, they convene a meeting to consider their position, which was not on the whole good.
There's a background atmosphere of wide open spaces, a little wind, a few bits of bird song, some monkeys chattering. Fade up over that, the sound of a confusion of voices all talking together.
All right, I'd like to call this meeting to some sort of order, if that's at all possible.
Care for a light trim, sir?
Not now, I'm in the bath.
Come on, shut up, everybody. There's some important news we've made of Discovery.
Is it on the agenda?
Oh, don't give me that. Well, I'm sorry, but speaking as a fully trained management consultant, I must insist on the importance of observing the committee structure. On a prehistoric planet, address the chair. There isn't a chair, there's only a rock. Well, call it a chair. Why not call it a rock? You obviously have no concept of modern business methods, and you have no conception of where the hell we are.
Look, shut up, you two! I want a table of motion!
Boulder emotion, you mean?
Thank you! I've made that point. Now listen. Order! Order! Oh, God.
I would like to call to order the 573rd meeting of the Colonization Committee of the planet of Fentorwix.
Oh, this is futile. 573 committee meetings, and you haven't even discovered fire yet. If you would care to look at the agenda sheet,
Agenda rock.
go and backcomb something, will you? You will see that we are about to have a report from the Hairdressers Fire Development Subcommittee today.
That's me.
Yeah, well, you know what they've done, don't you? You gave them a couple of sticks, and they've developed them into a pair of bloody scissors. We're gonna die out. You know that.
Well, you're obviously being totally naive, of course. When you've been in marketing as long as I have, you'll know that before any new product can be developed, it has to be properly researched. We've got to find out what people want from fire, how they relate to it, the image it...
Oh, stick it up your nose.
Which is precisely the sort of thing we need to know. Do people want fire that can be fitted nasally? And the wheel. What about the wheel thing? It sounds a terribly interesting project. Ah, well, we're having difficulty there.
Culty. It's the single simplest machine in the entire universe.
All right, Mr. Wise Guy, if you're so clever, you tell us what color it should be.
Oh, Almighty Zarkon. Has no one done anything? Well,
I have declared war on the next continent.
declared war! There's no one even living there.
Yes, but there will be one day. So we've got to start an open-ended ultimatum.
What?
And blown up a few military installations.
Military installations, number 2.
Yes, sir. Well, potential military installations. All right, trees, we interrogated a gazelle.
And of course, Finland, the producer, has rescued a camera from the wreckage of the ship and is making a fascinating discovery on the indigenous cavemen of the area.
Yes, and we're dying out. Have you noticed that? Yes, we must make a note to stop selling them life insurance. But don't you understand? Just since we've arrived, they've started dying out.
Yes, and this comes over terribly well in the film he's making. I gather he wants to make a documentary about you next, Captain. Oh, really? That's awfully nice. He's got a very strong angle on it, you know. The burden of responsibility, the loneliness of command. Ah, well, I wouldn't overstress that angle, you know. One's never alone with a rubber duck. Whee!
Uh, Sir Skipper,
He splashes about a bit.
if we could for a moment move on to the subject of fiscal policy. Fiscal policy? How can you have money if none of you actually produce anything? It doesn't grow on trees, you know. If you would allow me to continue, since we decided a few weeks ago to adopt leaves as legal tender, we have, of course, all become immensely rich.
Yeah, it's been nice.
Yes,
Yeah,
you're very
yeah,
good. Lovely.
yeah.
Mhm.
Big fan.
Yes.
But we've also run into a small inflation problem on account of the high level of leaf availability, which means that I gather the current going rate has something like 3 major
Deciduous.
deciduous. It's weirdly cut off on my
Oh,
on my
weird.
page. It's so strange.
Mhm.
And everything looks weird. Deciduous forests buying one ship's peanut. So in order to obviate this problem and efficiently revalue the leaf, we are about to embark on an extensive defoliation campaign and burn down all the forests. I think that's a sensible move, don't you?
Yeah, sounds like a
Fiscally,
fiscal. Yeah,
Yes.
gotta cut
Yeah,
prices at a
prices at a
stroke.
stroke.
Cut-
Gotta increase
the
the.
value of the leaf in your
Yeah, it makes
pocket.
sense. Makes economic sense.
I eat leaves.
You're absolutely Brahmi. You're a bunch of raving nutters.
Is it perhaps in order to inquire that what you've been doing all this time? You and the other interloper have been missing for months.
Yeah, well, with respect, we've been traveling around trying to find out something about this planet.
Well, that doesn't sound very productive. I thought you.
No, well, have I got news for you? It doesn't matter a pair of Fedigo dingoes, kidneys, what you all choose to do from now on. Burn down the forests. Anything. It won't make a scrap of difference. 2 million years you've got, and that's it. At the end of that, your race will be dead, gone, and good riddance to you. Remember that. 2 million years.
Ah, just time for another bath. Pass me the sponge, somebody.
Fade up the same background as the previous scene. The meeting is continuing very faintly in the background. In the foreground, some cavemen are grunting. No, Q scores 10, you see, and it's on a triple word score, so I'm sorry, but I explained the rules. No, please put down that jawbone. All right, we'll start again and try to concentrate this time.
Oh, what are you doing, Arthur?
Trying to teach the cavemen to play Scrabble. It's uphill work. The only word they know is grunt, and they can't spell it.
And would you please tell me what that is supposed to achieve?
We've got to encourage them to evolve, Ford. Can you imagine what a world is going to be like that descends from those cretins over there?
We don't have to imagine. Let's face it, we already know what it's like. We've seen it. There's no escape.
Did you tell them what we'd discovered?
Slottybot's signature on the glacier? No. What's the point? Why would they listen? What's in it to them that this planet happens to be called the Earth?
And that it happens to be my original home.
Yes, but you won't even be born for nearly 2 million years, so they're likely to feel that it's not a lot of your business. Face up to it, Arthur. Those Zeebs over there are your ancestors. not these cavemen. Put the Scrabble away, and it won't save the human race because Mr. Ugg here is not destined to be the human race. The human race is currently sitting around that rock over there making documentaries about themselves.
But there must be something we can do.
No, nothing. Really, nothing. Because it's all been done. Listen, we've been backwards and forwards through time and ended up here. 2 million years behind where we started. But that doesn't change the future, because we've seen it. Wise up, kid. There's nothing you can do to change it, because it's already happened.
And all because we arrived here with the Golga Fringeums in their beer ark.
Yes.
Poor bloody caveman. It's all been a bit of a waste of time for you, hasn't it? You've been out-evolved by a telephone sanitizer.
He's pointing at the Scrabble board.
Oh, he's probably spelled library with one R again. Poor bastard.
No, he hasn't.
Hey, no, look. It says 42. The experiment. It's something to do with the computer program to find the ultimate question.
Hey, you know what this means, don't you?
What?
It must have gone wrong. If the computer matrix is set up to follow the evolution of the human race through from the cavemen, and then we've arrived and caused them to die out,
And actually replaced them.
then the whole thing is cocked up.
So, whatever it was that Marvin spotted in my brainwave patterns is in fact the wrong question.
Yeah, it might be right, but it's probably wrong. If only we could find out what it is.
Well, how about... Look, if it's printed in my brainwave patterns, but I don't know how to reach it, supposing we introduce some random element which can be shaped by that pattern.
Like,
Pulling out letters from the Scrabble bag.
brilliant! That's bloody brilliant!
Right. First 4 letters.
W-H-A-T. What?
2 more.
D-O. Do. It's working! Hey, this is terrific! It's really coming... Y-O-U-G-E-T. What do you get?
More here.
I-F. Y-U-O. Multiply. I'm beginning to get a sinking feeling about this. If you multiply 6 by 9. By 9. Is that it?
That's it. 6 by 9. 42. Something certainly got screwed up somewhere. I always said there was something fundamentally wrong with the universe. So what do we do now?
I guess we just follow our pride and go join the human race.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. From this point, a long, slow fade on the dialogue, whilst the background sounds of wind eventually rise to cover it. It's sad, though. Just at the moment, it is a very beautiful planet.
It is. It is indeed. The rich primal greens, the river snaking off into the distance, the burning trees.
And in 2 million years, bang! It gets destroyed by the Vogons. What a life for a young planet to look forward to.
Well, better than some. I read of one planet off in the 7th dimension that got used as a ball in a game of intergalactic bar billiards. Got potted straight into the black hole. Killed 10 billion people.
Total madness.
Yeah, only scored 30 points, too.
Where did you read that?
Oh, a book.
Which book was that?
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, that thing. And What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong plays us out.
And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Exactly.
Delightful, Bonk.
Beautiful, thank you.
And that's the end of Fit the Sixth. And that is going to be the end for tonight.
A+ work, squad.
Yeah.
We did great. great, even aside from the gigglies.
Oh, we had a bad case of the gigglies, but it was great.
Worth it. 100%.
GBD, giggly bitch disease.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
It's terminal. If you're watching live, thank you so much for being here. Hope you're enjoying this as much as we are. If you're watching, okay, Janet, give me a second. I gotta do my outro. If you're watching the VOD, also glad that you're watching. Hope you're enjoying yourself. If in either case, it's not showing up on the stream footage, so that no one can see that you're demanding toes. If you're watching and you haven't followed me, then I would love it if you did that. If you're watching or listening on YouTube, then you can like, you can comment, you can subscribe, and catch up with this series as it progresses. And if you want to get merch, you can do that at streamlabs.com/tallankyguy/merch. And until next time, thank you so much, and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.